Hi everyone, I'm Jude from IndieWire, and thank you all for being here, and it's such an honor to be here with this fantastic team. I know we all probably need a moment to breathe. It's such a good film, so moving, right? It's incredible. So I guess we'll start with you, Andrea. Congratulations. This is your third film. All of your films have been about women. What inspired you? Thank you. What inspired you to write this piece?
Oh, well, you know, I've always been really fascinated. Oh, is it working?
No, okay, sorry. I've always been very, very interested in the dramas of abandonment, the consequences, the dynamics, the complexities that come from the experience of not being accepted, not being seen for who you are. I think that's something that it's so inherently human. It's something that we can all relate to. It's so part of the human experience, and the consequences are so profound in the way we look at ourselves and in the way we relate with the rest of the society, with other people. And I think that through the story of Monica, you know, we get to experience and see also parts of ourselves that dealt with that. And that's my hope, actually, my wish for the audience to see that, to have that opportunity.
Beautifully put. For Trace and Patricia, what was it about Andrea's vision, his script, his previous work maybe, that made you know you had to do this project?
For me, it was just the chance to finally play the title character, just to lead. I mean, I've had a 10-year career in TV and a lot of supporting roles, a lot of guest stars, bouncing around from show to show. And never really had the opportunity to dig in and show the world my craft in the way that I know I was capable of. So when I read the script, it was end of 2016, and then started auditioning early 2017. I just knew it was worth fighting for. I felt like, you know, the strong silences and all of that, like, would really challenge me as an actor. And I learned a lot with his specificity. Sorry, I keep mentioning that.
You know, he's specific.
He's very specific. But you know, my job is to find the truth and the heart and to take the direction. And when you have such specific direction,
Can you give us an example, either of you?
well, I think about like there was a scene where I put him on a necklace and he was, you know, we did a take or two and you're falling out. He was like choreographing my shift and my weight and my head tilt. And I'm like, I'm trying to emote here, you know, but like I had to really just listen and just reach new heights. And another example would be just the car scene where I'm leaving and pulled a U-turn, and there was like a finite amount of time on the road. There was a cone, and then I had to make a turn, and there was a public street, and I had to cry, and you know, I'm in this square aspect ratio, and the camera is literally here, and we got it first take. So. And so I don't know. It was a challenge that I'm glad I got to experience. Yeah, he made me a better actor, and so did Patricia.
I'm glad you mentioned the aspect ratio. It's one of the, you know, more visually distinct things about the film, among many things. And I love your use of mirrors as well, Andrea. I think it's particularly apt for this story. Why did you decide to shoot in a 10:4 aspect ratio?
Thank you. It's actually 1.2 to 1, and it's very square-like, in fact, and it really reminds one of portrait photography. And I felt that it was very appropriate for the type of exploration that this film is, because it is like the main aim is to penetrate the internal world of Monica, the psychological and emotional experience that Monica is having as much as possible. That's really the core of the film. And it's a framing that gave us the opportunity, my director of photography, Trace Lysette, and I, especially to explore the boundaries between what is inside the frame and what is outside of the frame, and create the tension of, allowing the spectator to, project themselves and having to connect more of the dots for their own experience with what is withheld from them. Kate and I really worked in crafting the images and the composition using lines and shapes and the use of lighting as well, to really enhance that and to create a sense of claustrophobia and codependence. That it's really, really important, I think, in getting to know Monica little by little.
You want to know how I came?
Yes, I do. We all do.
The only reason I want to talk about it is, I'm old, and I've done a lot, and maybe too much. And but I knew Andrea Pallaoro. I'd met him in Marrakesh at Notman nightclub. I was on the jury of the Marrakesh Film Festival with Martin Scorsese, and we gave him a big award. Anyway, and years later, I got the call that Andrea Pallaoro is offering you a film. And I was like, oh my God. And he said, my agent, who's really fantastic, said, I said, oh my God. So I read it at 2 o'clock New York time, and by 10 o'clock Los Angeles time, I said yes. It's the fastest I've ever said yes in my life. Because the beauty of the script, and Trace, the extraordinary Trace was cast. I knew who she was. I knew of her. I'd seen her. And I knew him. I loved the beauty of the script. But I also, it was not lost on me that an exceptional transgender actress could lead a film. It's not lost on any of us, thank God, in this industry. And it was so exciting and thrilling to be involved and be attached and to get to know these two exceptional human beings, because it took us a while to find the money, but I got to know them. We spent a lot of dinners, but finally we found the money and we made this movie. And I said, hey, you want me to play your dying mother with no makeup? I'm there. I'm there. Trace, come on, baby, let's go. You're going to be gorgeous and I'm going to be dying.
Well, you both have obviously such faces for the camera, it's almost a shame sometimes, Andrea, the way you obscure, I think. I mean, although it's so beautiful for your vision, I was curious about, for both of you, were you ever like, why is he behind me? I'm doing my big monologue, I'm breaking down, all they can see is the back of my head. I mean, I can't think of anything that would be more stressful for an actress in her first lead role, except that.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it, right?
A few times, yes.
Yeah, we made up.
We talked about it.
Yeah, it was hard. I'm not even gonna front. Like, it was hard. It was hard because I think the scene you're talking about when the car breaks down. I mean, I was trembling on the side of the road in Cincinnati. I was having an actual nervous breakdown, and the scene called for it, and so it was hard to see the final, the cut, the edit, and to see, oh, I thought they had me in the rearview mirror, but it was soft. And then, okay, they're on my scalp, got it. Okay, so you were giving all this Angela Bassett, and they didn't get it. But you can hear it. You can hear it. And I love you so much. And he explains to me, after the fact, he explains to me, the doling out of bits and pieces of Monica over the course of the film, and how that's powerful in a different way. And I think my palette changed after making this. There's no preachy moments. There's no ABCing it for the audience. Everybody leaves with some question marks, with some questions that maybe they're wondering, or and I think that in a way that's a compliment to the audience, because it's like, you get to think, you get to form your opinion. Nothing is laid out for you. And that was a lesson for me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm struck by what you said, Andrea, about to obscure certain things, and these two women are obscured from each other in a way. That's the whole dance of the film. So it works in many ways. But I'm curious for both of you how you discussed, or did you ever put a finger on, okay, in this moment she's recognizing me, or was it more fluid between you all on set as well?
It was fluid. We never, Trace and I am the luckiest gal to have Trace. We had an immediate and beautiful emotional connection. From the second we met at a pre-Emmy party. And I saw her across a crowded room, and I thought, oh my God, there's my daughter. But it was, we just, I don't know, we from the moment we started the film, you saw it, you knew. We had an understanding. Trace and I work in similar ways. We are visceral actors. We are emotional actors. We lead from the heart and the gut. And we lead occasionally the head. So we lucked out. I found one of the best acting partners I could ever have in my whole life. For this deeply emotional journey. I'm lucky.
Trace, I know for you, you're also an executive producer on the film. What did that mean practically, and why was it important to you, Andrea, to have her in that role?
I mean, that just kind of unfolded on its own in the form of notes, and I think you guys asked me for a round of notes. And it felt like the right thing to ask for when we went to do the deal. To just have a little more control, input, opinions. As an actor, you just want to show up and do what's asked of you. But I think because this is a trans-specific story, that in the end, it was important to hear from trans people. I think that we should be conscious of whose story it is in terms of who has lived this life. And I've been trans. I was non-binary in the 90s. I've lived as a woman longer than I lived as anything else. And I know this life. I know the grit of it. I know what it is to get up out the mud. I know Monica. And she was really close to me in so many ways. And I think you guys saw that, and it was appreciated in the end,
Yes, actually, and from the very beginning, even, as I was writing the script, I knew that, I wanted to find the collaborator that I could really embark on a complete journey with, and that, whoever that person was going to be, had to have a very, very specific and principal and crucial role in it. And I would have not had it any other way.
Patricia, you've been such a long-standing advocate for the queer community, and you have many fans in this room, I'm sure. Maybe it's an obvious question, but we would just love to hear, why is it important to you from the beginning of your career? I think you've been playing queer roles. Why was it so important to you then, and why is it still important now?
I think it's more important now than ever, given our political situation in this world. And everyone must fight, straight, queer, non-binary, trans, everybody. We must rally forces. This will not win. I said today, Trace Lysette, Morning Joe, everybody loves this. You guys, we're on fire. Let's say. I'm serious, we're doing big shit. And, we have to realize there are so many people in the world that try to come, people cross mountains and rivers and oceans to come to our country to flee persecution, and we turn around and persecute our own. That's insane. Mm-hmm. That is un-American. It's unconscionable, and it must end. And everybody must fight. Everybody must fight. And I've always been. I was raised in a political house. My mother ran the city. I'm fierce. I'm very fierce, and so I've always been an advocate for everybody to live free. Like, everybody talks about, everybody doesn't want anybody to touch their guns, but nobody wants to talk about everybody touching everybody else's body parts. So, you know what I mean? This is shit. It's shit. So, I think it will shift. I do. I believe that our country is better. We strive to be better people, but I think everybody has to be better Americans. We have to remember that we live in a country that could be great, right? Isn't that why we're here? Yeah. Or let's just all move to Paris. I don't know.
We'll see you there.
Yeah.
I guess to get more specific into the film industry, I guess. This is for anyone, but Trace, how do you see trans cinema, where it stands today, where it's come from? I feel like we had kind of a watershed moment, with Transparent, which you were so wonderful in and huge part of that. And I don't know, it's been kind of quiet for the last few years, it feels like. And this film feels like another important moment in art house cinema, for sure. But yeah, maybe all of you could say a little bit what's happening behind the scenes. Is there actually more desire for trans stories, or is it has it been a bit of lip service over the last few years? And
well, what I've seen is that there's a lot of performative allyship in the industry. There's not a lot of people walking the walk in terms of greenlighting our projects. I wrote a show in 2016, developed it, sold it to FX, developed it, got down to the final polish, and it was not greenlit. And now they own it. They own parts of my life. And someone else would have to buy it from them and then, make it in order for it to, resurrect or whatever. And that was really painful for me because I had to talk about, parts of my trauma, turn it into, it was a drama, turn it into laughter like we do, as survivors. That's how we get by. We learn how to laugh through it all. But it's been, especially in the film space, it's almost like non-existent trans stories. There's been a few foreign films I've seen that have really centered us, like Princessa in the early 2000s, Fantastic Woman, Lingua Franca. Those are the predecessors. They kind of paved the way for me. But as an American film, I don't know. It's been so scarce. And in the TV landscape, we had Dirty Sexy Money, which was, one character, Transparent, Pose, Dominique is here. my sister from the ball thing. And you know,
Let me ask you, Trace, don't you ultimately just want to be an actor? Like you're just,
I do.
like someday we're just going to play spies together. You're just an actor.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and that's what
I do.
ultimately would be the most forward in our industry, right?
I do, but I think trans stories are important.
And they are,
And, yeah,
there's
and
not
and
enough right now.
We need more of them, and we need trans people as writers and directors and producers. And so I say all that to say, that was a mouthful, but you know, the networks and the studio heads and the powers that be need to really, I think, step up, walk the walk with us. So I don't know, if this film does well, I have big dreams. I mean, I'm always about making space for everybody else, for all of us. There should be room for all of us. But you know, it's hard. We need a win.
I do feel that we can recognize that there's been some progress in representation, but we can't deny that, for a film that centers around a trans character, the road to get financed and greenlit is definitely much harder. And I've experienced it in first person. And that being said,
Would you say it was the hardest of your 3 films to get funded?
yes.
That's kind of incredible because it's your third film.
Yes,
You would think.
maybe it's actually going to be a little easier, but no, it took us many years, and a lot of sacrifices for sure.
And were people saying to you it's because it's a trans film, or you just had to kind of
so many
read between the
words,
lines?
in so many words, a lot of people we did hear but what can we do with a trans film? We like the script, and we do want to see the story, but what can we do?
But then it opens in Venice, and Trace gives him an 11.5-minute standing ovation. So who's winning now? You know what I mean?
And I also have to say that, from abroad, actually, there are a number of films that do center around trans characters that have just have made recently that I'm very excited to see. And I just recently saw a film that I would like to point out that is a Joyland, very refreshing. I don't know if you had the chance to see it, but please do go see it because I found that it really stems from a very exciting and very refreshing vision. Our first-time director from Pakistan.
Well, thank you all so much for this watershed moment in trans cinema. The future looks bright.
Thank you guys for coming. Thank you so much for coming.
Please tell everyone to see the film. Congratulations.